All right, so this is chapter 2.6, rational functions. We're going to find the asymptotes, zeros, holes, whatever critical points we can, and the behaviors around to graph our functions. So first equation here, 3 over x minus 2, so vertical asymptote. Okay, we take the denominator, x minus 2 equals to 0, so x equals 2. Therefore, we have a vertical asymptote at x equals 2. All right, now horizontal asymptote, we look at the lead coefficient. Well, I mean, not the lead coefficient, we look at the degree. Well, this would be x to the 0 degree, since there's no x there. X to the 0 degree is 1. And this is x to the first degree, which means for a horizontal asymptote, n is less than m. If n is less than n, y equals 0. So we have a horizontal asymptote right there. We don't have any holes because nothing would reduce down here. So no holes. None. And let's see, we can look for some other things. Do we have a y-intercept? To find our y-intercept, we would put 0 in here for x, and that would give us negative 3/2. So for a y-intercept, we would have 0 and negative 3/2. 0, negative 3/2, that'd be right here. That's good to know that point. X-intercept, there isn't one. None. And again, for the x-intercept, we would look up here. We would set that equal to 0, which we can't do. Now, lastly, we just need to pick some points. And the important part is to pick points on both sides of the vertical asymptote, and also if you have any other critical points like that y-intercept. So we're going to pick 0, negative 1, 3, and 4. Plug those values into my original equation here. And I get negative 3/2, negative 1, 3, and 3/2. Plot those points, 0, negative, we already knew that one. Negative 1 is negative 1, so that's right here. 3 is 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is 3/2, right around here. All right, so that tells us that our graph is going to look something like this. Okay, the ends of our graph are going to be heading towards those asymptotes, right? So we know they're going to kind of be heading out here, getting closer and closer, and then connect these points, and we know it's going to start heading like that. All right, let's look at number 2. Number 2, we're going to factor it first. X plus 1, x plus 1, and below here we have 2x minus 3 and x plus 1. That's why I say it's really important that you learn how to factor, so you should be able to do that quickly. And in factoring it, we notice that those two terms cancel out. That means we have a whole. X plus 1 equals 0, x equals negative 1. We're then going to take our negative 1 and plug it into our equation, what we have left over here, which would be negative 1 plus 1 over 2 times negative 1 minus 3. Kind of doesn't matter what my denominator is since this is equal to 0. Okay, what's that? Negative 2, negative 5, but this equals 0. So our whole is at negative 1 and 0. And our vertical asymptote is going to be 2x minus 3 equals 0, x equals 3/2. I'll put that in here. X equals 3/2. We have the 0 at -1 and 0 right here. And then we can look at right here. That's going to give us our x-intercept. X plus 1 equals 0. X equals -1. Oh, well, our 0 is at, so where our x-intercept is, this is our intercept, is actually where we have a hole. So that doesn't quite count. And again, we've got to put some values in here, x and y. I want to do, again, values on each side of my vertical asymptote. So 0, -1/3. That's also my y-intercept is 0 and -1/3. And then we have 1 is -2, 2 is 3, and 3 is 2/3. So we'll plug those points in here. We have -1/3. At 1 we have -2, that's here. Okay, at 2, 1, 2, we have 3, 1, 2, 3 up here. And at 3 we have 2/3. 1, 2, 3, 2/3. Oh, oops. Let's back up a minute. Completely forgot about my horizontal asymptote where n equals m here and here. So y equals a over b. In this case, that would be 1/2. Our lead coefficient, 1 and 2. So I didn't put that in. I should have. Kind of an important piece to have here. Now I look at my graph and it's coming along here. There's that hole, comes through that hole and it heads down. And then up here, comes down through and follows along there. All right, I'll do the problems on the next sheet for the next video.